out there that says America needs wrestling or the world needs wrestling. You know, and a lot of times people see that poster and it goes in one ear and out the other. When I look at that poster, I start thinking about what's really important in the world. What's really important. And I start thinking, well, you know, America needs wrestling, the world needs wrestling. Then I'm starting to think, well, I question myself, maybe there's more important things in the world out there, like people inventing, discovering cures for cancer, or for HIV, or for things of that nature. And so then I start thinking, well, maybe we don't need this poster out there. America needs wrestling, the world needs wrestling. Maybe we just need to focus more on America, the world needs to discover cures for cancer or for HIV or many other things that are really important. Then I started thinking about what wrestling represents. What wrestling represents. After I started thinking about it, you know, it represents something that is extremely difficult. It represents something that is extremely difficult. It represents something that you have to master several disciplines, or at least you should. And then all of a sudden, when something isn't mastered, it shows up right in front of everybody. And it is a sport that there's going to be some drop-off as you go up the line, just because it's natural to drop off. But it is also a sport that takes a lot of discipline off the mat as well as on the mat, even more than most. And it takes a lot to just go through a wrestling practice, just one wrestling practice in the heat of the battle. You have a good coach during the season, and just to be able to walk in there and survive it. And it takes a lot to be able to walk out in front of somebody, people out there, not with any teammates beside you except off the mat. They're there, but they're not on the field. They're not on the court. They're not on the mat. It's only you. And I listen to some of these parents sometimes, and I listen to some of these kids, and they might point out that, well, we tried wrestling, but it wasn't quite for my kid. And you know, it might not be for good reasons. For good reasons. Then I asked them, well, why isn't it for your kid? And they said, well, it makes him too nervous. He gets too nervous before he wrestles. And so because he gets so nervous, he doesn't enjoy it, and he's got a fear out there. And I start thinking, you know, you're doing that young man or young lady, you're doing him injustice by not making him work through this fear, through this psychological, whatever you want to call it, psychological edge or psychological disadvantage, to make him overcome that, to be able to go out there and do this. Because the life's not over when the wrestling match is over. When you get out of wrestling, you're going to go into your professional life. It could be wrestling, it could be something else. When you go out of a family, you're going to go create your own family. You're going to have a lot of situations where you need to be strong. Wrestling creates strong leaders. Wrestling